and it's really heartbreaking. I will say the one thing I love about sickle cell anemia is the absolute proof of evolution. So I don't want to get religious with everybody, but we talk about survival of the fittest. So if sickle cell anemia is so bad, how do we have so many sickle cell anemia patients? Because usually if something is really bad or kills you, it gets weeded out through survival of the fittest. But sickle cell anemia, one of the side effects is that you're immune to malaria. You cannot get malaria. And so if you imagine you're in Africa and this family is in this village and everyone dies of malaria and just the sickle cell family is there, they go to the next village and they marry, their kids marry, they have more kids, then that village gets wiped out by malaria, except their family. In that particular situation, even though they have a horrible disease, they're most fit for their environment. So prove survival of the fittest. So that's the one cool thing. Meanwhile, it's a horrible condition. It's very painful. The hardest thing I see, and I'm going to talk about plus relief later for pain relief and inflammation, is that they give these kids fentanyl. They use fentanyl as a pain blocker or pain drug in sickle cell kids, and fentanyl is highly dangerous. It's highly addictive. Fentanyl is addictive after a single dose. You know, so all these sickle cell kids are on fentanyl. Now, I would argue Cell Defender will help simply by making the body healthier. The plus cardio care will help by making the blood vessels healthier. It's not going to treat or cure sickle cell anemia. It's genetic, you know. There is some work being done by a company called Sangamo Biosciences that's trying to get the proper genes in there and erythropoietin alpha to make proper red blood cells. I don't know how far along they are, but it would be, if they're successful, it would be the cure for sickle cell anemia. Okay? Yeah, it's cool stuff. Sorry for that tangent. But I love answering questions like that. I actually like answering questions because I say any trained monkey can put a slide up here and read off a slide, but you guys know I know what I'm talking about when I can answer questions like that. I did go to school. So, all right, so vegan collagen. So I wanted a collagen source, and if you look at collagen sources out there, there's plenty of them, but they're always, you know, they're bovine collagen from cows, porcine collagen from pigs, marine collagen from salmon, avian collagen from chickens. I know it's going to offend somebody. You know, someone's going to say that they're kosher, can't eat pigs. They're Hindu, they can't eat cows. You know, so when I found this vegan collagen, I was thrilled. I said, I'm not going to upset anybody. I've got a vegan source of collagen. So it does have a nice dose of vegan collagen. It's going to support the as the hormone levels balance, it's going to support healthier hair, skin, nails, and blood vessels. Suzie talks about the fact that they're her nails now, and they're really strong, and it's simply because of the plus balance. You know, I've met plenty of people now that talk about how their skin is healthier, their hair is healthier. Some people's hair was gray, and now it's darkening over time. It's because of the compounds in here. So the next thing I want to talk about, besides the Kalawais, is the Argen Bio. The Argen Bio is a plant from Africa called Sesbenia. The Sesbenia plant has a really bioavailable form of biotin, which is a B vitamin that actually allows the body to utilize collagen for hair, skin, nails, and blood vessels. So between the Sesbenia and the Kalawais, it's having that effect. So that the visible aspect of the product is not just healthy liver support, but healthier hair, skin, and nails. And that's something huge in our industry. If you can make the intangible tangible, that's a home run. That's huge. Can I say home run? You guys know what a home run is? You know, baseball? I know you got cricket. I don't know what they call it in cricket. What do they call it?
They call it a 6.
A 6? Okay, it's a 6. That doesn't seem like enough. It's a 12. Yeah, the fact is, if you can make the intangible tangible, it's a huge deal. So I talked about our fiber that lowers cholesterol. No one ever stops you on the street and says, your cholesterol looks great today. You know? So you got to just trust it or have blood work. But if you see someone with healthy hair, skin, nails, someone's looking better, they have a spring in their step, you're going to stop and say, what are you doing? You look fabulous. You're doing something. And you can talk about something like the Plus Balance and, of course, the Cell Defender. All right, so I talked about the Celluthrive, the Kalawais, the Argen Bio, and saw palmetto. Saw palmetto has long been used for prostate health, but the way it helps prostates is because it prevents something called DHT, testosterone cycling. testosterone becomes circular, dehydrotestosterone, and that does a lot of things. One of the things it does is it can damage the prostate and cause something called BPH, benign prostatic hypertrophy. It can also cause hair loss because it actually causes senescence of hair follicles, which causes male pattern baldness. So by taking saw palmetto and preventing DHT cycling, it's healthy for the prostate, so it goes along with the cell you thrive, but also prevents hair loss and allows people to get thicker hair. Pygeum africanum, same thing. Pygeum africanum also stops DHT cycling in a different mechanism. So again, for prostate health and hair growth. And then DIM, DIM is really in diindolylmethane. Has anyone ever heard of I3C, indole 3-carbonyl? Okay, so I3C is found in green leafy vegetables, like spinach and things like that. It's long been used as an anti-cancer compound. It's amazing the way it works. The problem with I3C is it's really labile, breaks down quickly. So you can't take I3C supplements. So people that want to get I3C have long been told to eat dark green leafy vegetables. DIM is a direct precursor to the creation of I3C. So that's a supplement you can take and your body will make more I3C. And it is cancer preventive, it's chemopreventive, and especially again for hormone sensitive cancers like testicular and prostate cancer in men, uterine, cervical, breast and ovarian cancer in women. Then vitamin D3. Where's my person? Vitamin D3. Okay. So I said before, I have a lot of fights with physicians about vitamin D because they keep thinking it's a vitamin and it's for bone and teeth. It's not. Vitamin D is a hormone. And it's responsible for hundreds of different reactions in the body. Every cell in your body has a vitamin D receptor. And it does different things in different cells for different reasons at different times. It's a regulatory compound. It is a fat-soluble compound, so doctors have long been worried that if you take too high a dose, it'll get stored over time and cause damage. That's a really high dose. In clinical research, it took a dose of at least 50,000 IU daily for months to see any damage in the average patient. So when we give 10,000 or 20,000 IU, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care what your doctor says, I'll show you the research, okay? I get really mad when a doctor tells me that I have too much vitamin D in my products, and one of the things he offers in his practice is an IV infusion of vitamin D, 50,000 IU while you're sitting there right in your bloodstream. That's just hypocritical, you know? That's just wrong. So again, I also don't have vitamin K in here. You're not going to see K2. So a lot of supplements for bone, for osteopenia and osteoporosis, have vitamin D and K2. That's because when you take vitamin D with calcium and K2, it forces calcium to be resorbed into bone. That's the function of vitamin D. This is not a bone product. I don't want vitamin K in there because that's not the purpose of the vitamin D. In this case, the purpose of vitamin D is liver support. It allows liver functioning to happen more stably, especially phase 2 glucuronidation, which is the main transformation process that this product enhances. All right, so again, probably much more biochemistry than you wanted, but the upshot is this. If you balance hormones, you balance liver function, you're going to be healthier. The liver is going to help with metabolism. And this is something I didn't talk about at the beginning. The liver is the largest internal organ in your body, but it's also the gatekeeper for your body. Every blood vessel from your digestive tract goes through the liver first. Everything you eat and drink goes through the liver first before it gets anywhere else in the body. You need that gatekeeper to work. You need it to be functioning well. And so by doing this, by balancing hormone levels in the liver, by allowing the liver to do its job, the side effect, the downstream side effect is healthier hair, skin, nails, and blood vessels. All right? So people say, oh, I take it for healthier hair, but now you know why. Okay? All right. So nanosilver, people have been using silver for literally thousands of years, and they didn't even know why. If you had dirty water, they put silver coins in the water, and they said it was healthier to drink. They didn't know that silver is naturally antibacterial, antiviral, antiprotist. Silver is deadly to most things. Silver is a heavy metal. And so it's long been used for its ability to act as an antibiotic. The problem is that silver can be dangerous to healthy cells if it's atomic, if it's what they call ionic silver, which is single silver ions, can get into healthy cells. So over 3 decades ago, they started using colloidal silver. They started finding silver complexes that were 7 to 10 nanometers could not get into human cells. They wouldn't hurt human cells, but they were still antibacterial, antiviral, anti-protist, anti-yeast. They killed pretty much everything else, but it was safe to take. The problem is they make these colloidal silver, they make these compounds, but they break down. Silver is very reactive. If anyone remembers photography, all photographic paper was silver, and when you shine a light on it, it reacts and makes the picture. You know, silver is highly reactive to light and heat. And so when you have those other silver products out there, they break down very quickly. They ionize. And once they ionize, they can in fact be dangerous. They can hurt healthy tissue. They can even build up in the tissue and cause agraria. You ever see someone turn blue from silver? They actually get blue skin. It's really freaky. And it can be really dangerous. So our silver, and this is the only product we don't make in-house. We bottle in-house, but we have a third-party pharmaceutical company that makes this for us. They do this amazing thing. They take these 7 to 10 nanometer silver spheres and they run electricity through it to force one layer of silver oxide around the outside. It's like wrapping plastic wrap around it. I don't want to say plastic because it's not dangerous like plastic, but it protects the silver compound from breakdown. So it never ionizes. It doesn't break down. So it's a really healthy silvers. It outperforms other silvers, have up to 300 times the quantity, and it seems to be harmless to healthy human cells and even healthy bacteria. So healthy gut bacteria. So I like to say that our silver is a great complement to the cell defender. Where the cell defender, the zeolite, takes out all the non-living things that don't belong in your body, the silver takes out all the living things that don't belong in your body. If that makes sense to everybody. So we have seen it work against worms, against yeasts, against protists, against, of course, bacteria and viruses. And it's completely safe in every possible way. If you have lung problems and a nebulizer, you can put it in your nebulizer and it'll help with lung infection. I'll tell you my personal story. I've never gotten pink eye in my life. Conjunctivitis. You guys know what pink eye is? Anyone get pink eye? It's really annoying, right? So I don't want to point out my wife too much. My wife has gotten pink eye a lot. I think it's because she uses makeup, maybe someone else's makeup or someone used her makeup, but she would get pink eye, and sometimes I'd make fun of her, and I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry, honey. But so I got pink eye. I don't know how I got it, but I was so upset. I was very painful. I couldn't sleep. She had her ophthalmic drops that she used. So I used those drops. They didn't help me at all. In the middle of the night, she says, spray the silver in your eye. Like, why would I do that? Spray the silver. And I expected it was going to hurt, like it was going to burn or something. But I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't stand it. I sprayed my, it didn't hurt at all. It felt nice and cool. And by morning, my pink eye was gone overnight. Even with the ophthalmic drops, the prescribed drops, they say it takes 4 to 7 days to clear up. This cleared up overnight, just spraying the silver in my eyes. So it's perfectly safe to spray in your eyes, spray in your ears, spray in your, of course, take it in your mouth. We also have a gel, a silver gel, nano silver gel. So if you topically, you can use it. If you have any kind of infection, you have any kind of insult to your skin, it's going to help prevent infection. And like I said, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-protist. So plus hydration. So over the years, I've made a lot of products for a lot of different companies. And one of the sad things about my relationship with my wife is that when she likes a product and then that company either goes out of business or stops making the product, she doesn't get it anymore and she gets very upset at me. And so back in 1999, I made a series of products for sports performance, for fitness, and we called it Ultimate Performance. And a lot of professional sports teams used our products. So Los Angeles Lakers, Toronto Blue Jays, New York Islanders, and even over in Germany, the Munich Barons hockey team used all of our products. Their favorite product was a product I made that was for hydration. And actually, we relaunched it as Plus Hydration. It's like a very high-end Gatorade. They liked the product so much that they actually believed that they won the European Championship because of that product. They could play the whole game. They didn't get tired. They didn't get thirsty using the product. The goalie, who normally could only play about 30 minutes, played the whole game. So much so that I was there at the European Championship when they won. It was 2001, I think, maybe 2002. But at the end of the game, they skated me out on the ice to thank me, which I thought was kind of cool. you know. But they were the European champions, Munich Barons, using our products. And then the funniest thing is that we're in Munich, and they took me out for dinner afterwards to celebrate. So they took me to their favorite restaurant in Munich, and it was a Mexican restaurant. I thought it was kind of funny. And then they tried to teach me how to order. I'm like, I can order Mexican. I know how to say chimichanga. So what is it? So let's talk about hydration. So the first real hydration drink, sports drink, was called Gatorade. The reason it was called Gatorade is that the Florida Gators football team used it. It was perfected at the University of Florida. The football team used it, and they won the national championship that year. And it was actually pretty serious. A lot of people said that they cheated because they had that Gatorade, you know? They had help because they had the sports drink. So what exactly do sports drinks do? So normally you get hot and thirsty, you drink water. What happens when you drink water? Right away, you start sweating and you have to run to the bathroom. You have to urinate. So electrolytes are charged particles, positively charged particles, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium. Those charged particles help your blood hold more water. Why? Because all those positive charges are repelling each other. They're forcing themselves apart. When you have those electrolytes in your bloodstream, it lets your bloodstream hold more water to separate those charges. So it's pretty easy. So we call that volumizing your blood. So instead of drinking water and immediately have to urinate or sweat, your body will hold on to that water. That's the first step in rehydration with a sports drink. That's what electrolytes do. The second step is they have carbohydrates in there. When you're exercising, your muscles have used up their glycogen stores. They become carb starved. They're looking for carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates go into the muscle, and because carbohydrates are water attracting, they suck the water right into the muscle and rehydrate the muscle. That's how all sports drinks work. The electrolytes help you hold on to the water, and the carbohydrates drive the water into the muscle. The one thing that most of these products ignore is a concept called osmolality. Osmolality is a measure of intrinsic solid particles in a liquid. Water will always move from areas of low osmolality to areas of high osmolality to spread out those particles. The osmolality around the digestive tract, the bloodstream around the digestive tract, is right around 250. The average osmolality of most sports drinks is 280. So I tweaked this. It's actually a trick. By using longer chain carbohydrates, I achieved an osmolality of 220. Because of that, the water can more quickly get out of the stomach and into the bloodstream, much faster. It's actually a very cool feeling. Has anyone tried this with Plus Hydration? You get hot and sweaty. Get hot and sweaty, go out, work out, whatever, mow your lawn, whatever you're gonna do, and then drink a Gatorade. You will feel it hit your stomach like a ton of bricks, and then it'll get absorbed. Do the same thing and try the Plus Hydration. You can't even feel it hit your stomach. It gets absorbed so quickly, it feels like your body took a drink. It's like this. It's a very cool feeling. It's because the water gets absorbed so quickly because of its low osmolality. That's the real difference. It allows the water to get absorbed quickly. So what else is in it? Mixed maltodextrins. Now let me tell you what that is, because you guys are going to look up maltodextrins. You're going to find all these health sites that say maltodextrins are bad. It's sugar, it's starch. Maltodextrins are a generic term for long chain carbohydrates. There's good ones and there's bad ones. That's like saying all metals are bad. Well, calcium is a metal. That's a good metal, you know? So you can't just say maltodextrins are bad. We use two specific sizes of maltodextrin that's specifically made to keep a low osmolality and replenish the glycogen in the muscles. So these are good maltodextrins. Then we use fructose. So fructose is a really interesting sugar. It's a disaccharide. It's all natural. It's derived from fruit. There is not an enzyme in the human body that breaks down fructose. So fructose is not broken down in the gut. It's broken down in the liver, which means it's low glycemic and lasts longer in the body. So fructose is actually much safer and healthier for diabetics, but it does give you short-term energy, okay, without a crash. Then we put ascorbic acid in there. It really is a preservative. And then magnesium, potassium, sodium chloride, and phosphate, those are your electrolytes. So that's your product, and you have that. So again, safe, rapid hydration, healthy electrolytes, low osmolality, and the healthy carbs go into the muscle and suck up the fluid. So the best way to use the Plus Hydration is if you're physically active. If you're working out, if you're doing stuff around the house, you're getting hot and sweaty, great way to rehydrate. You can also use it aside from that. The best way to use it if you're not using it when you're physically active is actually at night before bed. So people come to me and they say, oh, I have restless leg syndrome. I don't want to upset anybody. There's no such thing as restless leg syndrome. Restless leg syndrome is dehydration, electrolyte imbalance. If you take even a Gatorade before bed, it'll help with restless leg syndrome. So people who have cramps at night, people who have restless leg syndrome, take the Plus Hydration before bed, drink it before bed, and that will all go away. That'll hydrate you overnight. So that's the best way to use it if you're not physically active. But again, some of our products will cause mild dehydration. I talked about the Cell Defender causing mild dehydration, leading to some of the side effects. Use the Plus Hydration a couple times a week. You can certainly help with hydration. I'm going to talk about Plus Relief in a minute. That's anti-inflammatory and analgesic that also causes mild dehydration. The Plus Hydration helps great when you're using the Plus Relief. And here I am with Plus Relief. So this goes back to my research with cobra venom. For many years I worked with cone snails. I talked about cone snails earlier. I told you how hard it is to milk a snail. Does anyone want to know how to milk a snail? Does anyone care? It's actually pretty cool. So the snail sits in the bottom of the tank and it kind of sticks out its tongue to look like a worm, and it's looking for a fish. So you take a balloon or even a condom, and you rub it on a goldfish. So it's got the oil from the goldfish in the balloon, and you hold it near the snail. The snail thinks it's a fish and it stabs the balloon, and you get a few drops of venom. That's how you milk a snail. Now, milking a cobra is much easier. You actually just have it bite through a piece of plastic, glass, and lots of venom comes out. So you get much more venom. It's much easier to milk them. It's much more efficient. So I started working with cobras really over 30 years ago, and that's me with a cobra. That's Corky. That's our mascot, Corky the cobra, with a bottle of Plus Relief. My wife hates when I take pictures like this. So I'm not the first guy to use neuroactive peptides from animals for treating disease. It's been used forever. As an example, I talked about my drug cone snail venom, Prialt. That's a pain drug that I worked on in the 90s. That comes from Conus geographus, a cone snail. Bee venom, Melitin, has long been used for treatment of rheumatoid arthritis and even multiple sclerosis. We use alpha cobra-toxin for the treatment of pain, but we also use modified alpha cobra-toxin for the treatment of multiple sclerosis. We're doing 2 studies now on multiple sclerosis with our drug RPI-78M. That's not Avini, that's my biotech company, Nutrapharma. But most people think of MS as progressive. We've gotten over 300 patients out of wheelchairs just using an extract, a modified extract of cobra venom. So we're doing these studies now in the US, and we hope to do international studies sometime in 2027. But that's cobra venom. And then scorpion venom, calotoxin, morotoxin are both used for blood pressure. Funnel web spider is used as a blood thinner. Tarantula venom also for blood pressure. Black widow, alpha latrotoxin. And then Byetta. So I worked with Gila monster venom in the 90s, and that was the first GLP-1. I don't know if people know this. So everyone knows GLP-1s now, Ozempic and Wegovy. They're all used for weight loss and diabetes. But the very first one was from 1996. Researchers at a company called Amylin Pharmaceuticals noticed that when a Gila monster would bite you, it wouldn't kill you, but you'd pass out. So why are people passing out? Well, it was severe hypoglycemia. Something in the venom was eating up all the blood sugar. They said, wow, that might be good for diabetics. And so they started looking at the Gila monster venom, and they came out with a compound, exenatide, called Exendin 4, and they eventually launched as the first class GLP-1 inhibitor. It was called Byetta, and Byetta is still available as a diabetes drug. But it was the first GLP-1, and it came from Gila monster venom. Isn't that cool? Very cool. Yeah. So our Plus Relief is a homeopathic dilution of cobra venom. We standardize it to 4 different peptides that's naturally found in Asian cobra venom from the monocle cobra, Naja tripudians or Naja coathia. We have 47 published human clinical studies and numerous animal studies on its benefits and effects. The last rat model we published went head-to-head against morphine, and we outperformed morphine. We lasted 6 hours longer than morphine, and we're 600 times more potent than morphine on a molecular basis, because you need so little of this for pain and inflammation. So did I illuminate that slide? I think I did. I used to have a slide with all the receptors on it, but it was a very busy slide. You can still find that at avinihealthtraining.com. But the basic way it works is it binds to a single receptor, the alpha-7 subtype of the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. That receptor runs through the CNS, and it's the pathway by which pain signals travel. So it dials down those pain signals. Has anyone used the Plus Relief? Some people? It's a kind of cool feeling, isn't it? Because it's not a numbing, it doesn't numb, it doesn't hide, it doesn't mask. It just takes a really big signal and turns it way down. That's really cool because one of the problems with pain drugs is by masking the pain, you can re-injure yourself. You're not going to do that with the Plus Relief. You still know that you have problems, you're not going to re-injure yourself. That same receptor also happens to be on the surface of certain white blood cells that are part of the inflammatory cascade. So it doesn't just deal with pain, it also deals with inflammation. So it's treating the problem along with it. Now, one of the cooler things about the product is because of the way it binds, it doesn't bind perfectly to the receptor. So when that peptide binds the receptor has to make a conformational change to accept the protein. That's called induced fit. And it's a phenomenon with most venoms, most venom peptides. The effect of that is, over time, your body grows more sensitive to it, not more resistant. So every pain medication in the world, the more you take over time, the more resistant you become to that drug. You need to take a higher and higher dose over time to get the same benefit. Eventually, you have something called the ceiling effect. It stops working, you have to switch drugs. With this, it actually works better over time. Your body grows more sensitive to it, not more resistant. You need less over time to get the same benefit. Tell me that's not the coolest thing you've ever heard. That's very cool, okay? So I have a syrinx in my back, syringomyelia. It's like a gap in my spine. Nothing much you can do about it. I could have surgery, but it could leave me paralyzed. So for many years, I just took over-the-counter pain drugs. I never took opiates because I think for a living. I didn't want to screw up the way I think. But I took all sorts of different over-the-counters, trying to minimize my side effects from over-the-counter pain drugs until we launched this. And now this is all I take for my back pain. Doctors who have seen my MRIs can't believe I can dance, I can run around, I can do what I do. And now I only have to take it maybe once a week to be pain-free because of the effect it has on you. So it's amazing. So it is available as an oral spray and a topical gel. The oral spray, you just spray it in your mouth. It tastes great. The flavor profile, did anyone ever drink Tang in the 70s? The drink the astronauts drank, you know? That's the flavor profile we use. So it's like an orange drink flavor. So, but you spray it in your mouth, and it's a systemic anti-inflammatory and analgesic. Now, the oral spray can take about 5 days to maximize. So don't think I take it right away, it's gonna work. Your body has to grow sensitive to it over about 5 days. It'll work better and better and better. So you gotta keep taking it, be consistent. It is meant for chronic pain. It's not meant for traumatic pain. It's not like, ooh, I hurt my arm, let me take the Plus Relief. I have chronic back pain, head and neck pain, migraine headaches, carpal tunnel syndrome. You have chronic pain. This is something you can take safely every day. Now, I do recommend the oral spray for large areas of pain. You got head and neck pain, back pain, large areas of pain, rheumatoid arthritis. You want to take the oral spray. The topical gel, you can rub anywhere directly where there's pain. It usually kicks in about 20 minutes. Greater than 90% of the people you give it to will have a benefit within 20 minutes. The coolest thing about the topical gel is it's different than every other topical pain reliever on the planet. No heat, no cold, no numbing, no smell. In fact, people that put it on usually forget they used it. Okay, so I've done meetings just like this, where I passed out samples at the beginning. Who has pain? Who has pain? Whatever. I pass out the samples. I introduce myself. I start talking. Right about 20, 25 minutes in, I said, by the way, who tried the product? And they start going like this and like this. And they start jumping up and down. It becomes like a tent revival meeting, you know? Like, hallelujah, you know? No heat, no cold, no smell, no numbing. You had a benefit?
No, I was going to ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
Was it okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
A friend of mine has lupus, so she's in pain and on several
Yes.
painkillers and really strong ones. Would that help her?
Yes, and I'm going to talk about that too. So the topical gel, like I said, works right away, usually within 20 minutes. You can use the topical gel and oral spray together. So a lot of people say with rheumatoid arthritis, we'll use the oral spray, and they'll put the topical gel in specific areas where they have pain all the time. The only real side effect we've seen is mild dehydration, because it's part of its anti-inflammatory effects that you can lose a little bit of water. So drink plenty of water. Nobody has any problems with this product. Like I said, 47 published clinical studies showing its safety and efficacy. One thing I will say is if someone is in pain and on pain medicine, don't stop doing what they're doing. Because this is what happens. Someone's on an opiate. Someone's on freaking morphine or fentanyl. I give them this stuff and they said, oh, your stuff didn't work. I felt terrible. I felt terrible all week. I had to go back on my... Well, because you're detoxing from the opiate. You know, you're withdrawing from a prescription drug that causes addiction. So whatever you're on, whatever pain medicine you're on, stay on and add the plus relief. There's no contraindication. In fact, the mechanism of action is so wildly different from every other analgesic, it's synergistic. It'll work great with everything. So I tell people, and even if people say, well, it helped me a lot, kind of turn my pain way down, but I still have something, take an aspirin, take a Tylenol, take an Aleve, take a Motrin. It's going to greatly enhance the benefit of the plus relief because they're different mechanisms to the same action. And you're going to see, oh my God, that works so good. So I tell people, especially if they're on opiates or really strong pain meds or like gabapentin or Neurontin, keep taking what you're taking, add the plus relief. Over time, as you feel better and better and better, you're going to be able to wean yourself off of everything else. To date, I was talking to Adrian before, we work with the Disabled American Veterans, Colonel Mike Fuller and Lieutenant Colonel Antonio Colmenares. Over the last 7 years with this technology, we've gotten over 1,000 US veterans off of opiates. Over 1,000. Okay, so I'm very proud of that. Of course, I got in trouble for that. So if you look me up, you're going to see in March of 2019, I got a warning letter from the FDA for saying exactly that. Okay? It's true. We did it. I'm legally allowed to say it. They didn't like me saying it. Okay? They don't want me saying it because they said that there's an opiate epidemic and I'm targeting an at-risk population. No, I'm trying to get people off of opiates that are killing them and we're trying to help them. Okay? One other thing I'll say about this is hospice. We've all had people die in hospice. If anyone's been to hospice, you'll see that as your loved ones are dying, they're going to tell you what they can do about it. And they're going to tell you what the symptoms are of dying. And they're going to talk about bluing of the hands and feet, bluing of the lips, labored breathing. None of that has anything to do with dying. Every one of those things, those symptoms, are caused by morphine. It's morphine toxicity. Morphine slows down all your reactivity. So most people in hospice simply get an escalating dose of morphine until they expire. That's the way they die. So it is euthanasia in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. People are going to die. But imagine, instead of the morphine, they were using this. And they were pain-free, and they were clearly thinking. They could make their wishes known. I think we could change the way people die in the world. Okay? I'm not saying that every life is going to be spared, but certainly they're going to be pain-free and clear-headed. Their organs are going to work. It's going to change. So one of the things we did a pain study at a hospice at the VA clinic in West Palm Beach, and 3 patients checked themselves out of hospice. That usually doesn't happen. Okay, usually hospice is your last stop. So yes, it's incredibly safe, incredibly effective. It is available in, like I said, an oral spray and a topical gel. The oral spray, the recommendation is 3 to 4 sprays 3 to 4 times a day to start. But as you feel better, you can lower that dose as needed. I do recommend continuing to use it because this is important too. Your body turns over those receptors every few months. So I've had people that stopped using it and they start using it in a few months. They said, it stopped working for me. My body's resistant to it, stopped working. And no, you've turned over all those receptors. So now it's like you're starting over. You have to use it to get those receptors used to the drug, used to the product. So I do recommend, even if you're feeling better with chronic pain, you keep using it a couple times a week, spray it, make sure your body maintains sensitivity to it. The topical gel, the recommendation is to use every 4 to 6 hours when you first start using it. But again, there's no upper dose. This cannot hurt you. We've given healthy volunteers the equivalent of a 30-month dose without side effect. So you get scared, it's cobra venom, it can't hurt you. It's completely safe and non-toxic. It doesn't cause cognitive decline, doesn't cause addiction. It's non-opioid, non-narcotic. Now, sometimes it's not easy to see what's wrong with your pet. So just as we have pain, our pets can have pain too. Now, the difference is that there are literally thousands of choices for us for pain relief. You go to the store, there's every possible thing you could take for pain relief. There's really nothing for dogs or cats. If you have a dog that's in pain, they usually give you tramadol or Demerol, which just knocks them out, or they give them an NSAID, which causes severe GI distress, diarrhea, constipation. There's not a lot of stuff they can take. For a cat, it's even worse. Every pain medication causes kidney failure in cats, every single one. So even if your cat gets surgery, they get a single dose of a pain reliever before they leave the hospital. That's it, because they don't want to risk kidney failure. So we have something here with the Cobra Venom, the same thing that's in the Plus Relief, and again, a natural chicken flavored paste that tastes delicious. It's barbecue chicken, and it's basically Plus Relief for pets. And it is a miracle. If you see a dog or a cat limping around the house, you give them this stuff, within 24 hours, they're running around like a puppy or a kitten. It's very cool. I'm an animal lover. I hate to see a dog in pain, but we've seen miracles with the Plus Relief for pets. And again, perfectly safe for them. The dose is just depending on the size. Normally it's like a little pea-sized dose, 1/8 of a teaspoon. You can put it right in your finger on a treat or on a spoon. They'll lick it right up. Almost every dog and cat loves it. I'm going to tell you this. If you come up to me and say your animal didn't like it, you're spoiling your animal. Because most dogs and cats love it. So this guy goes, yeah, my dog wouldn't eat it. He didn't like it. I'm like, so what does your dog normally eat? What do you mean? Well, do you feed him Science Diet or Purina, dog chow? What do you feed? Oh, I cook for him every day. Well, what? And I have a friend who will make a steak for his dog and then a peanut butter sandwich for himself. That's just crazy. So yeah, most dogs and cats love it. We are working on additional flavors. Right now we have a hypoallergenic chicken flavor. Part of what we went to the show for is we looked at bacon, cheese flavors, things like that, to look for some additional flavors for our pet products. But this is one of my favorite products because I'm a pet lover and I hate to see a pet in pain. And when you see them running around again, it's amazing. Then I think this is our last one. Plus Energy. Yeah, this is my last product. So Plus Energy. A lot of people like energy drinks. They're one of the biggest sellers in the world. I have a lot of problem with energy drinks, mostly because they're expensive, they taste bad, and they don't work. So we said, how can we make an energy drink that gives you all the energy, all the focus, none of the jitters, none of the crash? And so we have caffeine in this from guarana. There's about 125 milligrams of caffeine, so that gives you your energy. We also add an ingredient called L-theanine. L-theanine is anti-sympathetic, so it takes away all the tremors, all the jitteriness. So lots of energy and focus, no jitters. And then the miracle we put in there is called ADX7. Has anyone ever heard of ADX7? The last publication was 1989. Of course you know it. ADX7 was actually invented by the Russians in the 80s when they started testing Olympic athletes for drugs. They said, what can we give these guys that's not going to show up in a drug test? And they created this blend of adaptogenic herbal extracts that would give them focus and energy and reduce stress and reduce cortisol levels, really strong adaptogens, and they used it in their athletes. So the guy that invented that eventually left Russia. He lives in Georgia now, the country Georgia, and he still makes this. So I've used it in a couple of products over the years, but we buy it directly from him, this guy that invented this stuff for Russian athletes in the 80s. And as far as I know, we're the only company that's actually using this in an energy drink. But it's called ADX7. And between those adaptogenic herbs and the caffeine and the L-theanine, it gives you tons of energy, tons of focus, no crash. Yeah.
I was going to say, why have you fallen into the same trap as everyone else?
What do you mean?
It's got 0 calories,
Yeah.
0 energy, and you call it an energy drink. There's no energy.
Well, okay, so
It's just my pet hate.
there's no calories. So you're equating energy with calories. I'm equating energy with function. Okay, it keeps you awake and it keeps you going. Yeah, so you are correct. Technically, Energy is caloric consumption, which is carbohydrates for the most part, burning something to create energy. Yeah, so you are correct. It's semantics. So, and yeah, and no, you're right. And I have pet peeves like that too. Like I hate when people say detox and they're pooping. You know, that's not detox. You know, that's going to the bathroom. So they take all these digestive stuff and call it detox. But the whole idea is that people lack energy, usually because of lack of sleep, poor diet, not exercise, but people that need that boost, that want that extra boost, especially when you're working out. I gotta tell you, before a workout, it's not just the energy, it's the focus. Those adaptogens give you laser focus. Who's tried the Plus Energy? It's pretty good. The only thing I don't like is I didn't get the flavor right. Like the meal replacements are delicious. The Plus Energy is less offensive. It's the only thing I can say about it. Because energy drinks tend to be really bitter. Caffeine is bitter. The L-theanine is bitter. So I did a pretty good job. I'm working on the flavor. I'm going to tell you, every time you get this product, it's going to taste better. So I am working on the flavor to get it better and better. It certainly tastes better than 5 Hour Energy. Do you have 5 Hour Energy here? Okay, that's the biggest selling product in the U.S. It's like a little shot. You have Red Bull.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Yeah. So 5 Hour Energy, Red Bull tastes terrible. I don't know how they sell any of this stuff. So that tastes better than those right now, but certainly it could taste better. I'm working on the flavor. All right, so that's all the products we have now. I think we're done. All right, so what time is it? Did I do good on time? Oh, fabulous.
20 to 3.
Yeah, so understand, I'm going to do questions. We're going to do both business and product questions. I'm going to bring Adrian back up. I'm just going to say a couple of things to kind of wrap it up before you take the questions. One thing is, there's a lot more information on this stuff. I've done white papers, published research. Most of that is available right on the Avini Health website. If you go to avinihealth.com, you're going to see product articles. I write a monthly article for our newsletter on all the products, so you can read those 1,000-word articles. Gives you a little more of a deep dive in the products. I've also done master classes on most of our products. So if you want to see a 1 hour on Plus Relief or a 1 hour in Cell Defender, those are available at avinihealthtraining.com. So a lot of these deep dives are all available out there. And again, someone asked me earlier about less of a deep dive, just a quick explanation. We had tons of videos we've done, anywhere from 2 to 5 minute videos on each and every product that's available on the app and on the website. So if you do this as a business or you want to share this information, you can send those 2-minute videos. Here's 2 minutes on Plus Relief, 2 minutes on Plus Balance. And it just gives them a taste of what the product should do for them. Okay, so that's available. The last thing I want to talk about with that is a concept called analysis paralysis. I've met lots of people, especially health professionals, that don't want to do anything or share this information with anyone until they learn it all. And they call me all the time and they write to me all the time, and I'm fine. I've got great information to share. But I don't want it to stop you from starting to use the products and share them with others. We have the information, we can answer every one of your questions, but I don't want people paralyzed thinking they need to know everything I know to be able to share the products. Okay, so I warn people against analysis paralysis. With that, we're going to bring Adrian back up and we'll take some questions. Just share that. Yeah, see that work. Okay.
Wow, that was wonderful, Rik. Thank you very much. Has anyone got any questions?
Hello. We have a Maltese poodle, and she has on her back left leg something wrong with her kneecap. And the vet said at some point that if it got really, really bad, then they could do surgery, but they don't really like doing surgery on tiny dogs because it doesn't always work very well. Apparently it's a common thing in small terrier breeds. What have you got that would solve that problem, both from a pain point of view, because obviously when she's shaking her leg, it's because it hurts, and from a possibly building something to stick the kneecap back where it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I don't know what that particular problem is. With larger dogs, they get hip dysplasia, which is ultra mobilization of the hip, and the hip kind of pops out. I don't know if that's very similar in the small dog. We have a Maltipoo. I showed her the picture before. I don't know about knee problems. I mean, yeah, because it was jumpers. Yeah, your dog jumps like really high, like you think you could like go over a mountain. Yeah. They're very big jumpers. I feel like I could make money training the dog to jump over stuff. But yeah, so obviously the Plus Relief for Pets is going to work wonders. It's going to be pain and inflammation. If the reason it's not in place is because of inflammation, which is usually the reason, like when you have a dislocation, the reason it doesn't go back is because it's inflamed tissue. So that's going to deal with the inflammation. That might be all you need, okay? If there's something else you need for that, then it would be, you know, there's a pet product called Cosequin, which is like a pet version of glucosamine to help rebuild cartilage. They sell it all over the world. I'm sure they sell it here. But the first thing I would try is just the Plus Relief for Pets. Give it a couple of weeks. Certainly it's a girl.
Yeah.
She should feel better within 24 hours. Like I said, we see these dogs just limping along, and the next day they're running around. It's amazing. You know, people send me videos all the time. Okay.
I just wanted to know your products, as many as you take, do they all work in unison, like all flow together, all your products, or are there certain ones that you shouldn't take because they may interact or put the other product in deficit?
No, yeah, they all work together. They're all fine. The only time I warn people is like, there's so many people that think a little bit of something is a good thing, a lot must be better, and they want to double, triple, quadruple, and that's not really the case. Like Z-Immunity, we recommend 2 a day. Certainly in cold and flu season, you can take 4 a day. Or if you're really sick, you can take 2 twice a day. 6, 8, 12 is probably not going to help you anymore, okay? Because these,
All your products, sorry.
yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. You can take all of them together. You can take all of them together, and then it's not, none of them are going to inhibit each other. Like I said, the only concern I have is when people want to triple, quadruple, or take a lot, and especially with things like caffeine. So like the Trim Science products, each dose is 125 milligrams of caffeine. The energy shot, sorry, the Plus Energy is just the name, okay? But the Plus Energy has 125 milligrams of caffeine. So if you're caffeine sensitive, don't drink like 6 of those and 2 of those. You know, you'll be climbing the walls and it can be dangerous. So I warned that. Otherwise, you can take all the products and they're not going to contraindicate each other.
Are they athlete friendly? I'm thinking about Olympic athletes.
Yeah. So like I said, I formulate a whole line of sports nutrition products for ultimate performance. I used to work with the International Olympic Committee, the IOC. All of those products at that time we sent to the IOC for testing in Belgium to make sure that they were all cleared. I haven't done that with these products, but I know what the formulations are. So yes, all of them are athlete friendly. None will cause a false positive or a true positive on any drug test. The only thing I will warn you again is I'll go back to the caffeine. There is a blood limit of caffeine. Of course, 125 milligrams a time is not going to do that. Some of these guys take, 5, 6, 700 milligrams of caffeine at a time to get a spike. So that would cause a false positive, true positive for caffeine use. But otherwise, there's no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, hi. I'm a female boxer and I train about 5-6 times a week. I've never really been injured a lot, and said that, and then I got an injury.
You tempted fate.
Which I'll never say again. Rotator cuff injury, which is a common injury, as you probably know, with boxers. I'm just wondering, mine wasn't too bad. It took about 10 weeks or 16 weeks, but I wish I'd known or thought about the products, because that probably would have healed it sort of over a few days. But what's the best? I know you said earlier about something that could be good for rotator cuff, but also would that be good with the Plus Relief as well? Because,
So even though you healed, you have scar tissue.
yes.
And if you look at that tissue, and this is the wonder, you can look up tendaxium, look up the ingredient, there's tons of research out there. The fibers, your fibers are all twisted.
Right.
Because that's scar tissue.
Yes.
The tendaxium actually lines the fibers up and heals the tendon over time. And you can see before and after pictures are really cool. You see these like spider webs of tissue line up, and then the straight fibrous tissue. And for me, I couldn't do this. I go about there.
Yeah.
So I still have pain, I can still feel it, but every day it's getting better.
Yes.
And I really think that my tendons are really starting to like kind of heal and line up. But this is a 15-year-old injury, So yeah, I would first Cell Defender for everybody. Anyone ask me what they should use, Cell Defender first. Everybody should be on Cell Defender. Everyone needs a detox. A cleaner, healthier body fixes it itself. Then when you start doing something specific, I would look at the plus balance for plus motion for your
Yes.
joints,
Yes.
and then the plus relief for pain and inflammation.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
You also got to get to the other side. They're going to get jealous.
Well, I apologise if these are stupid questions. You said your cell defender removes aluminium. Does it also remove fluoride?
No, fluoride is a halogen. It's not positively charged, it's negatively charged, but it's a good question. Fluoride is a tricky one. Now, fluoride is removed through liver transformation. Halogens all are removed through liver transformation. So as the liver gets healthier, that fluoride is going to be removed for a healthier liver. If that's another concern of yours, the plus balance with the cell defender will take care of that. Okay.
One more. You said the crystalline lattice
Yes.
absorbs heavy metals, passes out. You also said there's a 2D one that gets encapsulated.
Yeah, the benzene rings. Yes.
Yeah. Does that ever form a chain or clump?
It can, but it's dimerized and trimerized. It doesn't get bigger than that. It's because the electrons all get stuck in the middle,
Yes.
so they stop sharing. Okay, but that's a good question. Yeah, that's actually in the article. If you get active crystallography, you can read it in the article.
Okay.
It is translated.
Hi, Rik. My name is Nik Naya. Recently, I just want to tell you that I came all the way back from Malaysia for this event.
Oh.
And I'm going back on Tuesday. I'm going back on Monday.
Where in Malaysia?
Kuala Lumpur.
Well, we had an office in Petaling Jaya.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, I used to love that. And then we used to go to Kuching and Penang. I love Malaysia.
All right, you're going back there again.
Yeah, I'll
so
go
I-
back.
Okay, I recently when I went, this time I went back, I met up with a friend who I had not seen for a year, but when I saw him, I was heartbroken by the state he was in, and he had MND, and I think in a year's time he'll be on a wheelchair. Is there another friend who's got terrible psoriasis?
Right.
How are these products going to help him? Which one should I take over?
Okay, so they're both autoimmune, basically. So immunomodulator. So first, cell defender, of course, helps. Okay. I told you how much work we've done in multiple sclerosis, which is like neuromuscular disease, you know. But cell defender would help. Zinc figure protein activation for pain, the plus relief, and then for anything that's neurologic, like the NMD, I would also look at the plus mind and vision. It sounds counterintuitive because we're talking about mind and vision, but it does spike neurotransmission, and that helps in anyone that has nerve disease, any neurodegenerative disease. And then for the psoriasis, Zimmunity, because immunity is immunomodulatory. So all these things will help over time. If you need better information, I need to see more information. So I'm always happy to look at people's blood work, their scans. I used to teach classes in MRIs. So I taught at Florida Atlantic University. I taught classes for Duke University. So I'm better at looking at all of it to see, and sometimes I see a misdiagnosis. I saw someone that was basically diagnosed with ALS and he had Lyme's disease. He didn't have ALS. So they gave him a death sentence. He just needed antibiotics, you know? So that can be really scary stuff. So if I can, if there's someone you want me to look at some blood work or things like that, I can get better information.
All right, I'll give it when I get back.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I want to turn this off. It's scaring me. Release it into the bloodstream and lymph, and you continue to take those out. That includes the brain. So even if it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier, we've seen aluminum concentrations in the brain reduce over time using the cell defender, is pulling it out as the tissues release that. Now, the reason I want to tell that story now is because we talk about a Herxheimer reaction. That's exactly what's happening. The tissue is releasing the stuff, but it's releasing so fast that they have side effects, they have symptoms from it. Okay.
Sorry, I can't remember what the product was called, but it was the one that my mum asked a question about. It's one for the skin, the hair, the nails. It's got
Plus balance.
Yeah, and my mum had stage 3 lobular breast cancer last year, and a lot of the literature that you read suggests that you shouldn't take collagen because it can increase like tumor growth. So this is it called Colawise, or is that sort of a suitable alternative?
Yeah, well, the big deal is not the Colawise, the big deal is the Cellulthrive, which will balance hormone levels and prevent that from happening. So let's talk about how we treat cancer. We treat cancer terribly. We treat cancer simply because it divides. Okay, so in most cancer treatment, most chemotherapy, we target the process of cell division, simply a cell dividing and making a new cell. Because in an adult with cancer, the cells that divide the fastest are cancer cells. So if we target cell division, we are killing cancer cells. But other cells divide. You know, so when you're on chemotherapy, you're killing cancer, but what else divides? Your hair cells, your hair falls out. Your red and white blood cells, you become anemic, and your white blood cells go away, and it destroys your immune system. Sperm cells, guys become sterile because your sperm cells don't divide anymore. So we target this process of cell division, and it destroys a lot of healthy tissue. And then the hope is that when you're done your chemo, you can heal and bounce back, and now you don't have the cancer anymore. That's the hope. But it's not the best way to treat cancer because you're targeting cell division. Now there's new stuff. There's things like tyrosine inhibitors and tryptophan inhibitors. There's other things that are working to try to treat cancer. There's even stuff being done on a cellular level or as immunotherapy, where they actually take your own immune system to target your cancer. And that's much more effective. But of course, they haven't been able to scale that up. But what they're worried about is your cells dividing, your cells growing. And so they say anything that helps cells grow could help the cancer grow. But not if everything else is working. If your tumor suppressor genes are functioning, if your zinc finger protein metabolism is functioning, the cancer won't grow. If your body is more alkaline, the cell defender creates an alkaline environment. If your body's more alkaline, the cancer won't grow. Okay, so I wouldn't look at the single ingredient, should I take or not take collagen because that helps cells grow or helps tissue grow. I'd say because I'm not growing cancer, I want my tissue to be healthy. I want to grow that tissue. Okay, so my answer is no, it's not going to hurt, and I hope my answer wasn't too long to say why it's not going to hurt. That's what I do, you know? Usually I give a lecture and someone goes, can't you just answer yes or no to a question? And I said, no, I can't, and let me tell you why.
Anyone else?
Wish I could turn that off. I keep staring at the light.
Hi, Rik. Sorry. There's a lot of talk about frequency of organs and the stuff that you take that actually help increase the frequency of your organ, because I believe as your frequency comes down, you're more susceptible to illnesses, diseases. So how does this product, do our products actually help raise that frequency?
I'm going to apologize and say I have no idea.
All right.
Okay? I'm not a physicist, I'm a chemist.
Okay.
And so I look at chemical mechanisms of action. I try to be more of a holist, you know, not just a reductionist, and look at systems and how the systems work together. But you are right. It used to be new agey to talk about frequencies, but now it's kind of cool. Like we know exactly what frequency gold vibrates at. So we now take gold nanoparticles and cover them with chemotherapy and put them into a cancer cell and hit it with that frequency. And it vibrates the gold and it amplifies the chemotherapy. So we know how to use frequencies now for a lot of different things. I have not done that work. I don't know if anyone's doing that work. It would be interesting if I could take our products to the next level to say, by the way, it's also doing this.
Yes.
But I can't answer the question. I just don't know.
Fine.
All right.
I should have understood the difference between what you do and what the...
Well, listen, I love physics. I'm just not a physicist.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just wanted to go back to the cancer treatment. One of the common facts that everyone forgets is that cancer cells revert to a fermentation system rather than the normal cells, which is to respire.
Well, they can. Some cancer cells can become anaerobic, but not all cancer cells. But yeah, you're right.
Exactly, yeah. So obviously, one of the main ways we can stop cancer cells increasing is by killing them off with reduction of glucose.
That is true. Yeah. Or maintaining glucose levels, healthy glucose levels. Yeah. You want to starve the cancer, and there's ways to do it. But I didn't talk about this before because there are now 7 publications using the zeolite in cancer patients. And what they found is really fascinating. I do have an email I send out to cancer patients just kind of explaining this. And it's really for their oncologists, because their oncologists always say no, you know. But now that we have good published data, we can share it. But a couple things happen. I mentioned before that most of the activity of the zeolite is extracellular. The zeolite is too big, even micronized zeolite is too big to get into healthy cells. But sick cells have leaky membranes. So cells that are viral attack, cells that are neuromodulatory, neuroinflammatory cells have leaky membranes, they get in, but also cancer cells. Cancer cells need a lot of raw materials to grow. They keep pulling in stuff to make new cells, pulling in stuff to make new cells. So anything that gets near a cancer cell will get sucked in through endocytosis. The membrane wraps around it and pulls it in. So now imagine this. I'm a zeolite crystal, and I'm full of toxins and heavy metals. I'm dragging volatile organic compounds behind me, and I get pulled into this cancer cell. It's like a toxic bomb going off into the cell. And it destabilizes the cell, and it turns on the p53 tumor suppressor gene. So we have actually measured the activation of that tumor suppressor gene in cancer cells with the zeolite. So that's why we've seen a lot of great benefit with cancer patients. Now again, I'm not saying it cures cancer, but in these studies, 7 published studies now, people that have used the zeolite along with chemo and radiation have had better patient outcomes and less side effects, or almost no side effects, from chemo or radiation. The last study I loved was in prostate cancer. Specifically, they were looking at the #1 side effect from platinum-based chemotherapy. It's actually called chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, CIPN. So what do you think causes it? It's chemotherapy-induced. It's a joke. It's chemotherapy. This is why I can't stand it, because drugs cause side effects, and then we make drugs for the side effects. Have you guys heard of opiate-induced constipation? OIC? That's like a big deal in the United States. Oh, I have opiate-induced constipation. What can I do? Stop taking the opiate. It's opiate-induced. Stop taking the opiate, the constipation goes away. But no, they take another drug to treat the constipation caused by the opiate. So chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy is the #1 side effect of platinum-based chemotherapies. So in this particular study, they gave half the patients the zeolite and half the patients just got their regular chemotherapy. And they actually followed my protocol. They discontinued the zeolite a day before chemotherapy and started 2 days after. Because the platinum is highly toxic. The platinum goes after everything, kills a lot of cells, kills a lot of cancer cells. But the cancer cells are going to take it up within a day or two. After that, now you're killing healthy tissue. So you want to get that platinum out of there before it kills too much healthy tissue. And so I said, a day before, stop the zeolite, 2 days after, start again, you clear out that platinum. So they followed that protocol exactly. And that study, which is a published study in a peer-reviewed journal, every patient on the zeolite had better outcomes from the treatment, and not a single one had peripheral neuropathy. It eliminated the side effect, which is kind of cool, you know? So a cleaner, healthier body fixing itself. I don't know if I answered your question. I went off on a tangent.
Yeah. I was kind of highlighting the point.
Yeah, okay, yeah. The whole idea is feeding the cell. If you feed the cancer cell, like feeding any cell, the cell it's voracious, it pulls in stuff and it grows. But if we can turn on the tumor suppressor gene to tell the cell to kill itself, that's actually kind of cool, because there's 2 ways for a cell to die. There's necrosis and apoptosis. Necrosis is it kind of dies and you have this scar, you have this dead cell there. Apoptosis is cell suicide, programmed cell death. The cell says there's something wrong with me and I need to kill myself to protect the being, to protect the organism. And so what it does is it starts producing peroxide inside the cell. And the peroxide starts eating away the organisms, and then it sends a signal to white blood cells to come and get me. It's like calling the garbage man to come get him. So the white blood cell comes and phagocytizes, eats the cancer cell. So apoptosis is really cool because there's no tissue left. There's no necrotic tissue. It just resolves. So it's a very cool way to kill cancer.
Has anyone else got any more questions? Well, can I say thank you, Rik.
Oh, my pleasure.
For travelling. I know you said we were in Paris, but you didn't have to come here, and you did. So thank you very much. And could everyone just give a big round of applause to Rik? You've educated us. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for coming today. I'm going to be around, Susie's around, lots of us here. If you've got any other questions you want to talk to us about, come up and talk with us. We got the room to about 3:30. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you.